Success doesn't come to you, you go to it. Hello friends, welcome back to my channel Studies No More Hard with Falak Kaushik. Today we are going to talk about the fundamental unit of life part 2. In this part we will talk about the cell membrane and its structure. So let's get started. So cell membrane, you know, the outermost membrane of the cell is called cell membrane. So the structure of the cell membrane is somewhat like this. So these are phospholipids. These are phospholipids and these are proteins. And you know, these are also hydrophilic and this is hydrophobic. So these are the phospholipids and they make two layers of the cell membrane. That's why the layer is called phospholipid bilayer. Bi means two. So phospholipids make two layers of the cell membrane, and that's why they are called the phospholipid bilayer. In the phospholipids, these are also hydrophobic. Hydrophobic simply means that they hate water. They are having the phobic means it's very related to the word phobia. They are having the phobia of water. They are very afraid of water and they don't need water. They hate water. So they are facing inside. And proteins. These are the proteins and they love water. That's why they are hydrophilic. Hydrophilic means that they love water and hydrophobic means that they hate water. These are phospholipids. These are proteins. So I have just break down the word phospholipid, which means phospho means phosphate group and lipid means diglyceride or fatty acid chain. So this was the word breakdown of the phospholipid. Phospho means phosphate group and lipid means diglyceride or fatty acid chain. So next, to explain the structure of the cell membrane in detail, two persons or scientists named S.J. Singer and Garth L. Nicolson, let me note down their name. S.J. Singer and Garth L. Nicolson in 1972 made the fluid mosaic model. So what is this model? This model was a model of the cell membrane to explain the structure of the cell membrane in detail and with much more accuracy. So this model was first proposed by S.J. Singer and Garth L. Nicolson in 1972 to explain the structure of cell membrane. So why this is called fluid? Yeah, there's a reason behind it. Fluid means that they are always moving. And the components of the cell membrane are always moving. That's why they are called fluid. And if you know that fluid means liquids and gases, so liquid is continuously moving. Similarly, the components of the cell membrane are continuously moving. And if they stop moving, they will stop functioning as well. So if they will not move, they will stop functioning as well. So I just told you in my previous module that cell membrane is highly permeable, which means that it allows the movement of materials both inward and outward. So what are the processes or modes of transportation in the cell membrane? Yeah, there are basically three types of transportation methods or mechanisms. First is passive transport. transport. Next is bulk transport, and third is active transport. So these three main mechanisms are there for the transportation of the materials in the cell membrane. And I just want to remember you once again that cell membranes don't allow every material. There are some materials that cell membrane don't allow to come in. It is highly permeable and it is also selectively permeable. Means only selected materials or some amount of materials can only enter the cell membrane or get out of it. So getting to the passive transport, passive transport occurs through two methods or occurs by two methods. First is diffusion and second is osmosis. So what are these two types of methods? I just tell you, diffusion means when there is an area of higher concentration of, suppose we take an example of oxygen or carbon dioxide, where the area where there is higher concentration of oxygen or carbon dioxide, the component of the oxygen or carbon dioxide will pass to the area where there are less of it. Means the transportation of the components of oxygen or carbon dioxide or etc. From higher concentration to lower concentration, or the movement of particles from higher concentration of it to its lower concentration, is called diffusion. So diffusion can be of oxygen, carbon dioxide or CO2, etc. Many other components. But what is osmosis? Same process from the higher concentration to the lower concentration, but osmosis only takes place for water. Osmosis only takes place for only water. If water will flow from its higher concentration to lower concentration, then it is called osmosis. So now what is bulk transport? Second type of transport mechanism. In bulk transport, it takes place through endocytosis. Endocytosis. This means the flexibility of the cell membrane allows the movement of materials to come in and get out of it. The flexibility and helps the cell. The flexibility of the cell membrane allows the cell to engulf materials from its external environment. The best example for this is amoeba. You know, amoeba's shape is somewhat like this. It keeps on changing its shape. It's a nucleus, okay. Here's the nucleus. So it keeps on changing its shape. It doesn't have any fixed size or shape. You know, it keeps on, and it is very flexible in cell membrane, and it engulfs the material. Suppose I just take an example. This is my hand. Suppose it's an amoeba. It just engulfs the material inside. Okay. It just engulfs the material, and this process of transportation is called bulk transport. In bulk it is taking, so bulk transport. And in active transport, the movement of materials or the components take place through energy. They are very energetic. From the word active only you can understand. And this energy is provided by ATP, adenosine triphosphate. So suppose ATP is a superman and it provides energy to the molecules which are flowing through energy to another area, or which are coming in of the cell and getting out of the cell. They need energy and the energy transportation or fully energetic transportation is called active transport, and the power is or the energy is provided by the ATP, adenosine triphosphate. So now we are going to talk about 3 different types of solutions. So there are 3 types of solutions, namely isotonic, hypotonic, and hypertonic. Isotonic, hypertonic, and hypertonic. So what are these 3 types of solution? Let me draw the figure. So in the suppose we put a cell in all these containers and they are filled with water. So what happens basically in these 3 types of solution is, in isotonic solution, the water content inside the cell is equal to the water content outside the cell. So the water content both inside the cell and outside the cell are equal. It is an equilibrium condition, and so it is called then the water or the solution which is present outside the cell, this solution is called outside the cell is called isotonic solution. In hypertonic solution, what happens? The water content inside the cell is less than the water content outside the cell. So when the water content inside the cell is less than the water content outside the cell, then what will happen? This water will flow inside. I just draw the big diagram of the cell here. So it is flowing inside, and you know that plants additionally have cell organelles named vacuoles which store water. We will talk about in detail in the next part of this video, of this chapter. So these vacuoles store water. So now they are full. They have stored the excessive amount of water as much as they can. So now they want to burst, fully loaded. Suppose you are blowing a balloon, and when it is full to the top, and when you blow some more air, it will burst. Now they can also burst. So don't you think the cell will burst? No. You know that plants also have a cell wall, which when the vacuoles apply pressure on the cell wall, this cell wall will apply the equal amount of pressure to the vacuoles and thus prevent it from bursting. So why it is not bursting? Because vacuoles are applying force or pressure on the cell wall, and cell wall is also applying pressure on the vacuoles, and thus prevent it from bursting. So hypertonic solution is just opposite of the hypotonic solution. In hypertonic solutions, the water content inside the cell is more than the water content outside the cell. So inside the cell it is more, and outside the cell it is less. In this condition, what will happen? This water will flow out. It's excessive and it will flow out. And now what will happen? When this water is flowing out, this will lose its shape. Cell will shrink, shrivel up and lose its shape. You know, when you are sucking a can or a disposal juice from sucking air or from a straw, you are drinking juice, and when it's empty and you still are sucking, then the disposal glass gets deformed. So because the air in it is empty. Same here applies to this. This is because of the law of pressure. We will not go into physics. We are talking about biology. So this is main. In isotonic solution, both conditions are equilibrium. Then the outside solution is called isotonic. In hypertonic, the water content inside the cell is less than the water content outside the cell. Then the solution outside the cell is called hypertonic solution. When the water content inside the cell is more than the water content outside the cell, then the water solution outside the cell is called hypertonic solution. So this was the main three types of solutions. So now we are going to talk about 2 or 3 main points. You know that fishes live in water. Fishes live in water, and you know, salty water namely, or basically they are living in salty water. They drink excess amount of salty water, and they excrete the excess amount of salt which they don't want. The excessive amount of salt, they just excrete it out, and then this process is called osmoregulation. Osmoregulation. So what happens in this, I just explained you right now. The fishes drink large amount of salty water and then excrete the excess amount of salt which they don't want. This process is called osmoregulation. So now there is a brain disease named cerebral hemorrhage. I think you must be introduced to it, and if you're not, I will just introduce to it now. Cerebral hemorrhage. It means that when there is excessive bleeding from the brain. When the brain is bleeding excessively, this disease is called cerebral hemorrhage. In this condition, hypertonic solutions are introduced into the brain, which shrivels up the blood vessels, and when the hypertonic solution is introduced into the brain and which shrivels up the blood vessels, and this reduces the amount of bleeding or stops it from bleeding. So the process when it is introduced into the brain, this is called osmotherapy. So what is osmotherapy? Osmotherapy is in the disease or in the condition of cerebral hemorrhage, hypertonic solutions are introduced into the brain which stops the bleeding or at least reduces the amount of bleeding from the brain. So by this we come to an end of our video or the fundamental unit of life part 2. So now we'll meet in part 3 of this video very soon. If you like my video, please like, share, comment, subscribe my YouTube channel, and please hit that bell icon so that you can know that whenever I upload a new video. So if you have guys any doubts, you can freely ask me in the comment section. And I just forgot to tell you in the last video that I have provided you notes in the description box, and I will always provide you in my every video. And in this video I will also provide you short notes of the summary which we have read in this chapter, or to take a short view of the main points. So please don't forget to check it in the description box. So take care and bye bye.